Hi guys, my name's Lucas. This is my architect assignment one. I basically was trying to make a menu, restaurant menu, um, that you would communicate with a client to a server, and the server would hold data and would be reliant on a text file to hold data for all the menu items and stuff. And then also the server should be the one to, in my eyes, would be the one to end up like handling like if you change menus and stuff. Um, and it would send every time a client like requests, it could send the menu to the client. Um, this way, if you had multiple people working on like if someone changes the menu and someone's ordering it, every time you try to place an order, it's going to update you with the most recent version of the menu. Um, that was the idea, at least. So I have this method here, this run method. I'm just doing these lots of buffered readers and print writers. Um, so these ones in here are just going to check if the request starts with get menu. If it does, it goes down to send menu, and that's a method down here. That's just going to send the menu. Um, so I have another class called menu utils that we'll get to in a second. That's going to contain a hash map with all the items. So this method is basically just getting all of the items, and then splitting each one with if the because each menu item is going to be split with this colon. So then it can return, well, then the out back to the client is going to be the two, the name and the price of the menu item. Uh, and then it also sends menu end out here. So menu start, menu end um, are going to be for the client actually, uh, to communicate, like so it knows when the menu is over, basically, so it doesn't keep looking and like checking and waiting and like it closes its connection. Um, and then let's see here. So also I have an admin mode that is what took like most of my time. And I had so many issues setting up the admin mode for some reason. It was just a total pain, but I think it's working really well now. It's not perfect. I think if I spent another week or so on this project, I could make it better. Um, so the admin mode here is going to basically, so if it does get the request admin mode, then it hops down to the handle admin mode method, and that is going to split commands. So they get commands from an admin controller, and that's going to be split by a space. And then it uses a switch here to check each case. So it does have um, this string uh, array basically setting up each part, and the first part is going to be the action. So that action here is going to be add, remove, or update. So if you're adding, it goes through this whole like if statement to check the length, sets up a a string for the name of the item that it's going to be getting from the actions. So that action when you the admin controller action is going to give what the action is, a name, and a price. So in this case, so it's going to then add, using that menu's utils again, add that item. So uh, and then there's a lot of try catch statements that I also was having a lot of issues with because they weren't really catching. They would just be trying basically. It was a lot of errors on this code here. Um, so then here is the remove case. Similar idea, but this time it just wants a name. It doesn't care about the price. And it also checks if the item exists here. So it makes sure that if the item exists, then you can remove it. If not, it's going to say item not found. The update, similar idea, checks if the item exists. If it exists, it lets you change that item. So you basically just add it again. So I'm not sure if that's the most efficient, but that was the way I figured it out, and it was easiest to do. Then it breaks out of the switch down here. Actually, so here and here and here. So that's my server class. Over here in my client class, it's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, honestly. It was, this is already quite a mess, and it was a little longer, and I had to like break it down a little bit more, but it has a bunch of variables it starts with. It has like an order list. So another thing, order, I made a custom object called order, and then I made an array of that type just so I can hold each order. I needed to hold the name and the price and the quantity, things like that. And I wanted to like eventually be able to like, the idea was that the order wouldn't just be a name and price, it might be ingredients, things like that. So I wanted to make a custom object for that. It also has this, let's see, these buttons set up here, a socket to communicate with the server. So down here in start, it's going to create a new admin controller. It's going to initialize the connection, which is a method farther down here. That's going to do the whole initialize connection, same as what we did with the last module. And there's also a close connection. And then a read server response. So that's actually getting all the responses from the servers when we send it like commands, basically, especially for like the admin stuff. And then here's the main. It just launches it. That's all it does. If we go to, and by launch I mean it's going to launch the stage that we set up here in the start here. So it does have buttons. We've got, let's see here. It sets up like the title, the stage, and sets the font for that title. And then we have a place order button, a remove item button, a get total button. Here's our HBox to set up our button layout. There's also a refresh button. Where is he? He's just up here. He's just set on action. He's going to do the refresh menu items. That's going to be a method down below. There's the admin button, which is also another method. These place order and remove item buttons, I didn't make a new method for them. I probably could have, but at the time I had just started with this, and then when I got to the refresh and the admin button, I realized that I didn't want this all to be in the start method, so that's why I started branching out and making new methods. Down here is going to be the scene creation. We already went over a little bit of initialize connection, close connection, read server response. We have the fetch menu items. That is going to clear out the current items and then get menu to the server. So that's when we call on the get menu. And then it checks here with that menu start, menu end. So it if the menu started, it sets it to be true. And then down here, when menu is started, it's going to start splitting. It makes a string. It's the post string, and it starts splitting each each item that it gets from the menu. Refresh menu items here, it's going to call on actually fetch menu items, which is here. So it's just the same. It just I probably could have actually just done fetch menu items again. At the time, I was thinking about adding some more features to refresh, but this way in the future, if I did want to change something, if I wanted to add like a loading uh, icon or something like that, that would be easy to, well, not easy to do, but I could do it with that. So I just wanted to keep them a little separate because they, even though they are very similar, they're technically two different, because fetch refresh menu items is basically a button, and the other one is just an action that happens when you like first load the menu and all kinds of other things. So then you have place order. That is going to be like for when you place your order. It's trimming down the names. It's creating a price. That second part of the string is going to be its price. Um, if it doesn't have a double, if you put like, I don't know, the word three or something in, that's obviously not going to work for this, and that's when we have the invalid price format. It's setting the quantity and then the total price. It's multiplying it so that every time the you basically like display this, it's not going to just, it's going to change the price and multiply it out. Let's see here, update order list view is going to be down here. So it's getting the items. And then order list view. Yes, it's been a while since I visited this class in particular, but oh yeah, here's the order list view all the way up here. So it's there's a lot of back and forth, and I know I could have done a little better, but I did run out of time. We have the get order total, just calculating the total for the entire order with all items in it. And then here's the admin mode. It's going to create a dialog box for the password. And actually, I should have used my dialog prompt. I created a dialog prompt class, but this was before I created it, actually, I'm pretty sure. So it's having to create a whole new dialog. And then it's setting that result and then sending it to like this validate password. So it has to return admin. This is the password for our admin class, very original. Well, admin like password basically. And then yeah, just checking if it's correct or not. If we go to admin controller now, so if it was correct, it's going to go down here and do this whole setup basically. So another stage, oh sorry, another scene, yeah, stage. And it has its own buttons here. I actually set up, yeah, this create button. So I didn't want to keep doing, even though it's not like a lot, I wanted to have like this whole stuff like written out so I didn't have to write it like twice as much. So you just create a button, like you create a class of button here and you just do it again and again and again. So a little bit of reusability there. Down here in the show items dialog, let's see here. Oh, sorry, show add item dialog. Yeah, so this is my, when you when you want to add a new item to the menu, this is all going to appear, and it's using this pair Yeah, it's a dialog prompt. My custom dialog prompt, dual input dialog. So it needs a title, a header, labels, and prompts. So 6 strings have to go to that dual input dialog method. And then it creates the result here. So that result then goes down here. The item name is itemdetails.getKey. If the item name exists already, then it says item already exists in the local menu. So it doesn't want you to have more than one name. More than one item with the same name. And then down here, it checks if the price it's poses it, and it fails if it doesn't. So if it isn't postable, then that's when this is gonna fail. And then down here is your command. The first command that we send to the server, admin mode add the name, a space here, and then the price. So then that server can like divide that up, get the name, get the price, everything it needs. And then this response string here is going to be the backing client, which is here, a restaurant client. So we create a class of restaurant client. And then this is going to be read server response. So then we get, where was it again? Yeah, read server response. It's going to just return. So this way the admin controller doesn't have to communicate from, it doesn't have to, like, it doesn't get stuff from the server, it gets it from the restaurant client. So the restaurant client is the one who's doing basically all the communication directly with the server, and then the admin controller gets information from the restaurant client. Down here is just some dialog prompts using the custom dialog prompt class I made. So just showing alerts. There's a lot of show alerts here. So if it's the failed to communicate with the server, or if the price isn't a number, all kinds of things like that. Same here with the remove item dialog. Very similar. Just sends a different command. And this time it's a single input dialog instead of dual. Here, same thing with the update item. It wants a dual this time because you need to change the price, so it needs a name and a price. I think these two are probably the add and the show update item dialog are very similar. I did have issues, so when I was running it, I had the most crazy errors that I was getting, and it turns out that I had a read line twice in a row, so it wasn't getting the right information here, and that took so long to fix. I don't know why I couldn't see that. Then here's a refresh menu from server. It basically, let's see here. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's just gonna refresh it. So you're going to send a request to get the updated menu from the server. This way you can refresh it in, well, actually here we're using it, we refresh it. So every time we change an item, remove an item, or add an item, I wanted it to refresh, just because I was running into some issues where, like, the first time you add an item, you couldn't change it, and then you try to change it, and so I just wanted to make it so every time you did something, it would refresh that menu, so you had the most up-to-date menu. So that's my admin controller. If we go to, here's my order class quickly, it's very simple. It's just an item name, a quantity, a total price. And then here let's go to, where is it? Yeah, this is my menu utilities. So it's going to get the file name. It's going to, whenever you create it, it's going to load the menu. This is our load menu. It clears the existing map and then loops through and sets like each string, so each line here, splits it, you know, a lot of the splitting with the colon. Um, the update menu, kind of similar. Down here, it's just checking if the item exists. Because I use this hash map, it was pretty easy to use this contains key, a put, a remove, like very quick to do. Very nice. The save menu here, it returns all menu items in the end, but yeah, it's just here, yeah, get all items. It just prints like, sorry, yeah, it prints to the file. And with it adds this little colon so the formatting stays correct. If we go to dialog prompt, this one has the dual input dialog. It gets all its information, all 6. It creates a dialog, returns the strings, sets the title of the dialog, creates 2 text fields for input, sets up the grid, configures buttons for submit and cancel. This is like if the submit button is pressed, then the dialog, like the pair, basically gets set for that, for the dialog button basically. So that would be back in the admin controller. And then if the like over here, if the submit button isn't, sorry, if the text dialogs don't contain stuff, then it's going to be grayed out as well. Single input dialog is a lot smaller. We have show alert, that's what we use a lot of. And then the create dialog layout, that's just kind of setting up the layout for our little dialog box. And this is just like the configure button state. That's the one that checks if they contain, like if the button contains stuff, or it determines if the button should be disabled or not, depending on if the state of the reference node, and that is the node up here, the submit buttons reference. Client, we want to have a client. So I think that's pretty much everything. I do have a utilities test here. We can run that, and that's going to just test if it updates the menu with these and tests, and then loads them and makes sure those are the right ones that it gets. I keep getting this message. I think it's because of the file's not the same name, and we have a lot of like error handling. So if it's not the right name, it's gonna freak out on you. When we run the server first, it's gonna say server started on port 880. Then we go to the client, and here we go. This is our restaurant menu. So we have a couple items. Unfortunately, I did have some issues with with the splitting. So I did have to keep underscore between the names. If they were two names, like 2 words, I had a whole bunch of issues with that. So we can place an order here, select it, place the order. You can keep placing more. You can change to a different one, place it. You can get the total. It's going to be, it looks about right. Yeah, 54.96. Then you can remove the items. You remove that one. You can't remove one at a time. That I didn't work on. I didn't really think it was necessary though. It's pretty easy to add things. Here is my admin controller. So just to show, if we put something else in, test, incorrect password, please try again. Admin, there we go. So we can add something. So test, let's do $1. Notice if this is empty, it does not let you submit it. Submit, item added, test 1. If we try to do it again, the item test already exists in the local menu, so that's working. We can remove items. Test, item removed. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have. Oh man. Okay, so we'll do it one more time. Test 1, submit, and then you can refresh it in this one or over here, and that shows up. And then we remove test, and he's gone. So both refresh buttons do the same thing. And this updates very quickly. Then we have the update item. So we can, let's say soda, change them to be $5 or 5 units. So item updated soda, refresh, now he's 5. We can change the, let's see, let's try one that we doesn't have. So soda with 2 A's, and we're gonna do 6. Soda not found, so that's working. We can also do that with this guy, so we can just do test. We've already removed him. Test is not found this time. So that's my admin mode. You can close out of there. And then close out of there. Connection closed. And also when you first connect, it says client connected, and it tells you, I guess, your IP here. So that's basically all I have. I didn't do as many tests as I wanted. That I should have worked on a little more, I think. But everything else is working. I didn't use any. I did use arrays, but they were like not like two-dimensional arrays. It was like that custom orders array, and then a lot of like lists instead, and the hash map for the menu itself. Anyways, thank you.